Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today I'll be telling you that why you should play the Lost Expedition. This is a solo game, a co-op game, as well as a two-player head-to-head competitive game as well. I will be showing you the rules of how the solo play works. The other two modes are just a variation of those which you can find out. Mainly this is meant as a solo game, but I've always played it as a competitive game and it just works fine with those rules as well. But the gameplay is pretty much similar. That's why you do have two meeples in the game, that if you are playing with two players you can use two meeples. The objective of the game or theme of the game is that if you have seen movies or read novels like The Lost City of Z, any book related to El Dorado, In Search of El Dorado, or expeditions through America, then this is based on that theme, which is presented in a very unique way, because this is the only game I have seen till now which makes you feel the dangers of the actual expedition that the people from Europe went through while trying to explore America and through the Amazon jungles. Now, you will be starting with three explorers. If you're playing with more players, there are other three explorers as well, or you can pick and choose which explorers you need. Each of these explorers come with certain expertise that are going to be useful. These expertise are mentioned on top of their card. So one is good at navigation, she's a botanist, she's good at camping and general exploration. So once you have selected your pair of experts, these adventurers who are going to go on this adventure, you will be using this big tarot-sized deck of cards to go through this adventure and see what troubles are going to come your way. You will be picking up 6 cards from this deck, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then by looking at these cards you will be deciding how this adventure is going to play, because what's going to happen is that all of these adventure cards are going to have some symbols on the top. They are good symbols, they are bad symbols, and accordingly you're trying to manage them in such a sequence that the troubles are less as compared to the good things you're going to gain on your way through this land, so that you can survive. And please do understand, this is a difficult game and survival is difficult, which is meant to be the theme. So surviving through the jungle while you're trying to explore and reach the final card, which is the El Dorado city, is going to be difficult. Now, how you play that is, you will be looking at these. Currently, the game is in morning phase. And in morning phase and evening phase, the game slightly changes. But in the morning, you can see the path. So thematically, it makes sense that you can see the path, that what's coming up ahead, and accordingly plan your way. So let's say I selected from my hand that I'm going to play this and this. Now do note that these cards are going to have numbers, and in the morning time they always will be placed in ascending order. So for example, 11 is first and then 30 is the second, so it will be played. Once I have played 2 cards, then 2 cards will be picked up from the deck, and without my choice they will be played, because these are going to be the events that happen with you in that night. So for example, there is going to be 35 and then 41. Then I get to play one more card from my hand. Let's say I select this one. This is number 10, so it will go in the start. And then one card will be taken from the deck and that will be placed. This is 22, so it will be placed here. So first 2 and 2 cards, then 1 and 1 card. And once this is done, now my path for this morning, this day, has been set up, that this is what's going to happen. And I'll be taking through each of these actions that what's happening. So on top of these, as I said, there are going to be symbols which tell what's going to happen, and the pictures are very thematic, which actually makes sense based on the action that's going to happen. So for example, The first action which I played was healing herbs, and the yellow action is mandatory, which means the next step is going to be skipped. So this is going to let me skip this one, but the blue is optional, so I can use my botanist expertise to gain some health and add a card as well. So right now my characters are at full health, so I don't need to do this action, so I will skip the optional one, but this action lets me skip a path, and this might hamper you sometime, because if this had come from the deck automatically and you really wanted it, now you have missed that path because you got busy in picking up herbs and got lost, and this card never happened, this event never happened. So let's go to this one. These two are done. In the next path, what it's going to say is when there are red options or orange color, then you are going to pick one of any of these combinations. So for example, I have found a tribe of people, I'm stuck in them. So what I can do is I can give them a food and they will let me rest. So I will gain an expertise for resting, but I will have to pay one food to them. Or I can use one of my navigation skills. I will, and they are going to show me the path forward. Or I can kill one of the characters, and it's going to give me again they are going to show me the path. So I can move ahead using this action, and my this expertise, I will have to waste one of his expertise or health to actually move forward. There will be some expertise cards which go into your hand and can be used as well instead of the health of that experienced person, and that's up to you. So for example, in this one, I use this. Now all of these symbols are given on the player aid as well. So these are double-sided and you can understand all the symbols easily by looking at these, but the symbols are very easy and they will make sense. So the game in essence will become easier to play, even though it's hard to win. Now, in this, using these tracking symbols, I need to track up ahead. The game does not automatically push me forward even though multiple rounds may pass. So I have to find out the cards and always ensure that I never skip these kind of cards which have these tracking symbols. The next card is going to have that I encountered a cougar, and now the cougar, I have two things that I can do. Right now I can use the botanist skill to actually feed something to him and be safe from it, or I can use one of my bullets to kill him. But if I kill him, I do find and I get a navigation skill. So let's say I'm going to use this, that I'm going to shoot him because I don't have additional botanist. I don't want to lose her health. So I'm going to kill him, and now this navigation skills comes in my hand, and in future if I have to navigate, instead of using the health, I can use this card as a navigation skill. Then I will go to the next card, and in the next card it allows me to skip two cards, so I never have to do this action. A thunderstorm was there, but because of this thunderstorm, the problem is going to be I lost the path, but due to the thunderstorm, two bad things can happen and I can pick one of them. Either I lose a health from any of the characters, or I lose a skill of camping. Since I don't have any additional skill of camping, I'm just going to lose a health. And in this way, I have dealt with one of the rounds in the game. My morning is done, and now these will go into the discard pile. So this is how the morning phase goes, that everything goes in the ascending order and you are trying to manage your resources, put them in that kind of combination that lets you skip bad cards, that lets you gain good skills, that lets you gain food and bullets or herbs or whatever, and you try to survive. At the end of the day, I will have to eat a food, and that goes back. And as you can see that my reserve of items is going pretty low. Then comes the evening phase. It's going to be similar, but with the one difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll pick up 6 cards, and using these 6 cards, I'm still going to play 2 of them, but this time they will not be going in the ascending order. Whatever order I will play, that's going to stick. So for example, let's say I play these two cards, and then these two cards are going to come into play. The only option I have for these two cards is that I can play them either on the starting side or the end side. So in the night, the visibility is not good. So accordingly, I can immediately change my path, or maybe something happens later on. But it's not going to be up to me. Then I will choose one more card from my hand. So for example, I use this one, and now again I have a choice to put it in the start or put it in the end, and wherever I will put it, then next card will come, and the only choice I will have is either to put it in the start or put it in the end. And accordingly, once all the cards are on the in here, then my adventure in the night is going to start. And again, I'm going to be resolving these symbols in that sequence and trying to avoid dangers that are going to happen to me. And there are a lot of bad cards. So for example, the scorpion is going to cut me. There are footprints which can lead me ahead. So this was a good card. But then my food got spoiled. So my food is going to get ruined without me eating it. But then thick fog is going to make me lose the path, and even though here they were going to help me, but due to this thick fog, this card got completely skipped, and then I fell in the water, and the piranhas got to eat me, and I will have to lose two food, and I don't have food, so I will be losing health, plus I lose health, and my character dies. And death is going to come very easily in this game. Your characters are slowly going to keep dying, and you will be trying to actually have at least one character alive by the time you reach this lost city of Z or El Dorado, whatever you would like to call it. But if all of my characters die and we don't reach, I run out of food, I run out of supplies, and my characters die, then the game ends before I reach the El Dorado. So this is how the solo game works. The co-op mode works in a similar way, in which two players are trying to help each other make the path in which they will reach the end. In the competitive one, you are in the half the game you are playing cards on your side, in other half you are playing on other side, then one player gets to pick which path they are going to select. So you are trying to make both the paths nearly equal, so that the leader does not pick the good path if you make one path very good or lucrative. So in this way, actually, you can have competitive game in which two adventurers are racing along the path to actually reach El Dorado before the other player. Now, the good things about this game is, first of all, the artwork. One of the things that made me buy this game was the artwork in this game, because each and every card in this whole big deck of tarot size giant cards is unique, and every card makes thematic sense. So for example, the food getting spoiled, the action that's going to happen does make sense, that your food is getting lost. The fog is going to make you lose path, plus swap two cards. So in the fog, you might be reaching one of the older locations which you had reached before, and that might go in your advantage as well. The scorpions, they are going to poison you. The piranhas are going to eat you, and everything makes so much sense, and that's one of the fun things. The game is difficult, as I mentioned multiple times, but that's part of the these kind of game fun of the games. If you won every time, then the game won't be challenging, the game won't be fun. So if you are a solo player, then this is an easy recommendation. For co-op and competitive, the game mode is not that fluent, you can say. So it's slightly cumbersome. You have to remember these cards go here or there. Why am I playing in his path? Is this my path? Because you will be selecting a path in the competitive mode. So competitive mode is the weakest, I will say, in this one. Solo is the best, co-op is middle ground. So if you are a solo player, then highly recommend, I can easily recommend this game. But if you are looking for a competitive game, then I will say look elsewhere. So that's it for me. This was the review for Lost Expedition, a beautiful thematic solo game. Thank you for watching and happy gaming.